What is up, guys? Ivan here with getivan.com, and in this video we're going to be looking at keyword research tool pricing comparisons. Most of these keyword research tools are mainly used for SEO purposes, but they can be used for pretty much any kind of research involving keywords, whether it's PPC or SEO or whatever else there might be. So let's take a look. We got retainer-based keyword research service price comparisons here. And we've got at the bottom, we've got Google Ads Keyword Planner. Very cheap to y'all. Basically, all you have to do is pay for a Google ad, and you'll have access to the exact search volume every month in the Google Ads Keyword Planner. Then we got Word Tracker, Keyword Keg, Longtail Pro, KW Finder, SE Cockpit, SpyFu, Keyword Tool, Moz, SEMrush, and Ahrefs. And of course, these final three are a heftier retainer. These are all monthly retainers, and it ranges from about $15 a month to, somewhere in the vicinity of $100 a month plus at the bottom. So I've either tried most of these or I've done trials on most of these. There may be one that I didn't do a trial for. And let's move on here, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the actual solutions in a second here. We've also got one-time fee keyword research service price comparisons. So this is keyword research at either software as a service or an actual service. And so we've got Fiverr at about $5, ranging all the way up to Market Samurai's lifetime license. So we got Fiverr, Conquer, Legit, Rank Tracker, and Market Samurai. And I believe that I've done a little bit in these, except for Market Samurai. So let's talk a bit about conclusions. So after trying various keyword research tools over the years and spending quite a bit of time in some more than others, you can spend a lot of time in the main lure of them is the competition metric, data that they provide. And they usually give you a number and they say, this is on from 0 to 100. This is how difficult it will be to rank for this keyword. And that's pretty much it. And so I've spent a lot of time scouring through keyword research tools for different niches, looking for interesting opportunities. And it doesn't really correlate oftentimes. They are based on, this is something I did not talk about in my article, but they're based on obviously SERP positions. So these various services going out, crawling, and tracking the actual ranking positions. But surprisingly, I did a correlative case study a couple of years ago with KW Finder, and KW Finder is actually, to my recollection, based on Moz. And so they take Moz API credits or something like that. And I could be mistaken on that, but that's, I believe, when you highlight their tool, it says these are based on Moz DAPA, and then their trust score and all this business. And I correlated that with page results. So whenever you do a Google search, it'll give you a number of pages returned. And for a long time, that was keyword competition metric. And if you use, I believe it's Rank Tracker, which comes from the SEO Power Suite people, then they actually still collect the page rank, or not the page rank, the page results. And page results is used in conjunction with search volume to create KEI. So if you're familiar, if you're not familiar with KEI, I can't really explain it right now off the top of my head. If you are familiar, you might recognize that as an old competition metric, Well, it's not really as old as you might think. When I correlated it with KW Finder, I was actually able, um, when I lined up the metrics and sorted, I found that they correlated within a very um, close margin. So they were very, very similar results. And I color coded them so that I could more easily see, do these results match up? And so I spent a lot of time for probably a solid year, year and a half, really working on Google Sheets template using page results and creating various correlations with spreadsheet formulas to create different kinds of KEI and different ways of looking at keyword results with via search volume and all these correlations with page results. The problem is that it takes time to scrape those page results. And on top of that, the proxies that you're using actually create an issue in terms of the location that they are based on. And so, depending on the company you're using and the location, the proxy, you can actually get a variance in the page result because the Google results are based on the location of the search query, the location of the person typing in the search query. And so I kind of moved away from that and I started looking at search volume. Really just I did another. I know I've said the word correlation 15 times, so I apologize if that's driving you crazy. But I compared search volume and page results, and I compared that with KW Finder and some other things out there, and also the long tail value. And I created a really, really simple metric that I call LTP, correlating creating a formula around the search volume and the long tail quality. And I've found that it's very, very similar. And so I haven't used page results or any paid tools in quite a while. I think I still have my lifetime license to Longtail Pro, and I've dabbled with Moz, and I've dabbled with Ahrefs, and I've dabbled with SEMrush, and I've dabbled in some of the other things out there also. And it's just not really necessary. It really kind of comes down to long tail quality of the keyword, how many, really just getting your eyes on the actual conglomerate data and determining what's the general density of certain kinds of terms, what's the money keyword, what's the informational keyword, creating a plan, because once you have your data, you have to do something with it. And that's really the major disconnect is, there's a dozen places that you can get general data, and most of it is really the same as what you get from Google Ads, despite the competition metric that they're trying to provide you with, but what really counts is once you got that data, how do you make sure that you actually use all those keywords as many times as you can in different capacities, and how do you track that information? And so there are certain times when I don't really keep track of that. I just figure out something I want to write on. And there are certain things to certain clients and certain sub projects where I have a goal. I'm going to go through and track and map all these various keywords that I'm trying to write on or trying to include in the asset. And so it would be really cool one day to see a service that is able to appropriately track, sort of a gamification mechanism, how close are we to the goal of including the majority of these terms that are associated with the industry? How are we doing on, is there a tool out there that can programmatically track the general topics and then sort subtopics inside the program for long tail variations and track, obviously there's SERP tracking tools, but I'm talking about not just tracking the SERPs, but tracking the content along with the SERPs. There's a difference there. And so I'm not aware of anything like that. It would be really cool to see something like that. And I'm sure whoever comes up with it would think they're the most genius person and there's nothing else like it in the world. And we're going to charge $1,000 a month. And that I seem to run into people like that all the time. And that's really just silly. And so hopefully whoever does that will make it cost effective for everybody. But in the meantime, I figured out that you can just create a Google Sheets spreadsheet and just keep track of it as you're going in to figure out what you want to write about. You could even script it probably to detect certain things if you wanted to. Problem is that it can't get very big in one single sheet. And so it can kind of get slow. And I think in the future, there might have to be, as files get bigger, you have to figure out some other way to track. But anyways, that is kind of the history of my experience with keyword research. And the reason that I don't pay for premium keyword research tools anymore, because I think they're a waste of money. I don't think they're necessary. They're cool. I like all the percentages and all the metrics, and it really gives you a sense of control. But it's a shiny object. It's a shiny object that doesn't really do anything for you necessarily. And yes, it's a tool, but you still have to write the content. You still have to actually progress towards a goal, and they don't track the goal. And that's the most important thing, is tracking the goal. And again, nothing quite does it. It's kind of like you got the raw data over here and you have the results over here, but nothing in the middle. And so that's the reason that I don't use any fancy tools, because the raw data you can get from Google, and I don't use any fancy SERP trackers. I just use Search Console. So in the middle, I've created a spreadsheet, and that's my response to the disparity of the lack of connection here in this complete workflow. And so make sure to check out my free Google Sheets template. And I have a free do-it-yourself SEO keyword research guide that I've linked to all across the page below. And this is really made for agencies and freelancers so that you can do keyword research really quickly on a lot of different topics. I've included a Google Sheets macro in there that will allow you to do the formatting with just a click. So there's a little bit of automation in getting those files made. And that's another benefit of doing things in Google Sheets, is it's all color coded. So it's all pre-formatted, and you can stay really organized and really clean. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate your time, and I hope you get some value from this article on keyword research tool pricing comparisons and what I recommend doing instead of paying for some lofty, expensive, shiny object. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for your time, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.